Thanks, Ian. One of the things that this test event has provided an opportunity for us to do is to take the technological side of the sport to kind of a new level. Ian mentioned earlier that there's a lot of prototypes, and with the innovation from a gentleman by the name of Stan Honey, who I'm sure you all know, and his work in a company that he started in, which was Sports Vision, which draws the yellow lines on the American Football League pitch, as well as the glowing hockey puck, as well as NASCAR tracking. The technology that he's brought to us has changed the way that we can actually run the races, and that comes in many shapes or forms. Originally, Stan's vision was to do a live overlay of the yellow lines onto the TV. So basically the images that are coming from the helicopter or the TV cameras, they're able to put a live overlay of the zones for rounding the marks, overlaps, and additionally the starting line. So OCSs and all of those things that sometimes the human eye has a look at. What he's been able to do is to bring it within 2 centimeters. And so the tracking is accurate enough now that through our testing here, we'll confirm that we can use it for calling the line over early, who's not. It's also enabled us to create virtual boundaries, which we're using to keep the boats together. As a lot of you know, catamarans, due to their speed and also the length of the course, have the ability to get pretty wide. One tacks on port, one tacks on starboard, and the two aren't together until they get to the windward mark. What we've done with these virtual boundaries is created an arena that forces the boats back into the center. And so by doing so, it's going to create more crossing opportunities. It's going to keep the boats in a position where tactically as well as visually they should be together a lot more. So by using these systems, the boats now know when they're approaching the boundary line and they have to tack. On the umpiring front now, basically with the tracking as accurate as it is, we can send it to the booth. So these boats go really, really fast. And for umpires to make a call while they're chasing in a rib going 23 to 25 knots, trying to get into the right position is pretty difficult. This tracking has enabled the umpires to actually sit in the booth, and the booth is on shore and is a place where these tracking and chart overlays and everything is coming into the booth, and they are making a call, whether there's buoy room or whatever the case may be, room at the mark, room at the limit mark, where to tack, room to tack. And so all of those requests are being made electronically by the boats. They're pushing a magic button and say, I have a Y flag protest or a red flag protest. That goes to the booth. They review it, and then we'll declare whether there's a penalty or not. In addition to that, the backup is we have 2 umpires that are following the boats currently in jet skis. And they seem to be surviving, so we're happy with that so far. And they also provide insight into what's going on the course. But ultimately, it's the booth that is making the call. So these pieces, plus the actual tracking on the boats themselves within 2 centimeters, a lot of the data that we're getting off of these boats will enable us to better figure out what course type we should use, how long the course should be, and to hone our time, because one of the things that we want to be very accurate with is how long these races take. with respect to the media and television. And the closer we can get that time to where we need it to be, the happier everybody will be.
So we'll open it up to you guys. We also have some callers on the phone. Michelle, Slade, Suzanne, Bob Fisher, Leighton have all joined us. So first we'll take some questions from the room here, and then we'll turn it over to the callers on the phone.
What will the boats have on board in order to stay within the virtual boundaries? Will they have like a TV screen?
Currently they have a smaller display, which again, a lot of the stuff is prototype and will change and develop. But the smaller display, actually, they have one on each hull. It's by the skipper, and he can look down, and that display will have how close they are getting to the boundary. It will show it as a positive, and then when they cross the boundary, it shows it as a negative, and that is instantaneously. And then it's instantaneously showed up at the booth, and the booth knows they've crossed the line and pushes the button, and a penalty, away they go.
What sort of penalty would that be?
It's a penalty that's outlined in the racing rules, which are the new racing rules that we've done, and the penalty at this stage is 4 boat lengths. So effectively in the 45s that would be, it'd be about 60 metres, and around 100 metres in the 72s. But those sort of things are, they're things that we are trialling and will adjust as we see necessary. Traditionally, penalties in ISAF have been 720s, 360s, 270-degree turns. They don't really relate to what we're doing here. We want to penalise the boats but also keep them in the race. So that's why we have written our own specific rules for the America's Cup, specialised towards the boats, the yachts that we are using.
So do they have to stop? I mean, do they just stall the wing?
They're slowed down, so effectively, electronically we're tracking them, and we can have a line, and we might set, a